Some empires were built with swords, others with silver. But one empire conquered the world with a ledger book and a pen. This is the story of the East India Company, a company that ruled without a crown and enslaved without an army. By the late 17th century, Britain was no longer just a small island nation. It was rising as a global power. The East India Company, formed for trade, had become the silent engine of that power. What began as ships filled with silk and spices would soon turn into a fleet that carried armies, orders, and ambition. At first, the company came as a friend, polite traders seeking business. They offered gifts, supported local rulers, and built trading posts along the coast. But behind every handshake was a plan: to control, to profit, and to rule. The turning point came in 1757 at the Battle of Plassey. When the young Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowlah, faced the British, he didn't realize that betrayal had already bought his defeat. With the help of Mir Jafar's treachery, the East India Company won, and with that victory, trade turned into rule. For the first time, a company, not a king, began to govern a nation. It minted its own coins, raised its own army, and passed its own laws. The British Parliament back home watched in silence as ships returned to London's docks heavy with Indian gold, silk, and saltpeter. But this wealth had a price. As Britain grew rich, India starved. Taxes soared, fields turned barren, and millions died in famines. The same ships that brought fortune to London also carried stories of misery and exploitation. By the early 1800s, the East India Company had become a kingdom in itself, too powerful to question, too rich to restrain. Even the British Crown began to fear its shadow. Then came 1857, the year of the Great Revolt. It began as a mutiny, but it was, in truth, a nation's cry for freedom. The rebellion shook the very foundations of the British establishment, and when the dust settled, the Crown decided the company's time was over. In 1858, Queen Victoria took control, marking the end of the company and the beginning of the British Raj. The East India Company disappeared, but its legacy lived on. Its system of economic domination and corporate power became the blueprint for the modern world, a world where money rules more than monarchs ever did. The traders are gone, but the Queen now wears their crown. In the next episode, witness the dawn of the British Raj, Episode 4, Crown and Colony. The Queen's Empire begins.